We're rolling. Hello, good people of the internet. Today I'm going to show you the new toy that I was sent. Every now and then I get a laser cutter from some company to test it and review it. So this time the company called Atomstack sent me their laser called Kraft 40 watt. It's a diode laser cutter. So yeah, let's just skip the whole boring and long intro. I'll just show you how it works and then I'll show you some projects I did on it. Let's go. Okay, so it arrived nicely packaged in a cardboard box with a thick layer of foam insulation all around, so it was very safe during transport. It weighs about 25 kilograms, so it is pretty heavy, and it's obviously an awkward shape, you know, so I'm not a really strong, beefed up person, but I did manage to take it out of the box myself. When you open the lid, there's a bunch of additional accessories inside, which is a standard packaging procedure for these kinds of machines. There was also an instruction booklet, of course, and you need to cut these two zip ties to release the gantry. Pretty much the only thing you need to do is install the diode module. It's very simple, you just click it on and screw this screw on top, and then you connect the data cable and the air supply. Speaking of air supply, it's not incorporated into the machine, it's a separate little compressor that you need to connect to the machine. It gets its power from the laser cutter, and it will blast air during cutting, which will result in much cleaner cuts. Okay, so now we've come to the coolest probably feature that this laser cutter has. It's the one from the title, the one I was too afraid to test. I know it's a clickbaity title, I admit, but you know, it's tough out there. You gotta, you know, get people to watch the video. But it is a pretty scary feature in a way, because this air pump also has the water tank. And in the case of a fire, the machine, the sensor, will detect it, and it will pump water through the same air hose and extinguish the fire. So it's pretty cool, but obviously you don't really want to test that, so I didn't. I was too afraid in a way. But I did manage to find the video online of the thing in action, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it can actually save your machine, right? Of course, the air exhaust hose is also included. You put one end on the machine, and the other end you can connect to your air filter if you have one, or you can exhaust it outside like I do. I made a little hole in my window with a flap door, so I can just vent outside. Now for the most satisfying part, peeling the protective cover from the lid. The lid is made from a pretty thick acrylic. It's orange because it protects your eyes from the dangerous light that you are not supposed to look at while the laser is cutting, right? So this way you can see inside without any fear for your eyes. And I think it's also pretty cool looking. I like this orange color, it's pretty stylish. Okay, to control the machine you obviously need to connect it to your computer. You can do it with the supplied USB cable or through the Wi-Fi. The cable is only about 1 meter or 3 feet long, so your laptop will probably need to be pretty close to the machine, but I decided I'll use Wi-Fi anyway. Of course you can operate the machine wirelessly without any problem. You can move the gantry around and send the job to it, everything you need to do. The way you operate the Kraft laser cutter is through their program called Atomstack Studio. It's a free program that you can download through their website. It's fine, it's similar to any other program used to operate laser cutters. It has all the basic functions. You can, you know, draw simple shapes or write text, or you can of course import your own designs, so it's pretty standard stuff. There is a camera on the lid that will take the photo of your work bed, and it will help you with positioning your design on the material. But there is one little issue: the software will not recognize the camera through Wi-Fi. So if you want to use the camera, you will have to have it connected by the USB cable, which is a little weird, but it is how it is. There is another way of positioning your design that you want to cut on the work surface, and it's pretty easy. You just place your design anywhere on screen in the work area. You then manually move the laser head to the bottom left corner of your piece of material, and when you press the button Frame, the machine will trace the square to show you the perimeter of your design. It's extremely precise, it shows you exactly where the cutting will take place, and it takes just a second to set up, so I basically didn't even use the camera at all. The Kraft laser cutter also has an autofocus feature. All you need to do is press this autofocus button, and the diode head will automatically lower to your material until the sensor touches it, and then it will automatically set the perfect focus distance for it, and it will be ready to cut. Easy peasy. Alright, so the first job I did was of course the material testing, and it will cut it or engrave it with a variety of speeds and strengths. So when you do that, you will know which setting is the best for this particular material. The work area of this laser is 50 by 32 centimeters, that's 9.6 by 12.6 inches. The diode head is pretty large, so it cannot go to the very ends of the honeycomb bed. So I placed the big sheet of paper over the bed and cut out a square the size of the whole working area. So here you can see that everything that's black is the space that you can actually work in, and everything that's white is the unusable space. Okay, let's cut something for real. The obligatory slice of life logo. The cutting experience on this machine is pretty wonderful, I must say. It's pretty strong, it's fast, it's very precise, and the cuts come out very clean. I quickly glued the logo to show you. One is like a 3D embossed logo and another one is just cut out. And it turned out pretty nice, yeah. The next thing is engraving. Again, no issues at all with this. It works absolutely as it should. If anything, I was actually pretty surprised how fast it was. This is the actual speed of engraving, which to me seems pretty fast. And here's a little time lapse of the whole job. It was about 20 minutes for this RoboCop image, and it was roughly the size of a postcard. I did perhaps set the power a little bit too strong, so it really dug deep into the plywood. So I tried another design on another piece of plywood. This time I probably set it too low. So, you know, I mean, practice makes perfect with these things. But it also actually depends on the wood. The MDF, for example, definitely engraved the cleanest and most reliably because it's a composite material. It's not as moody or unpredictable as the actual wood is, right? If you stumble upon a knot or something, it's definitely not gonna engrave it as easily as the softer parts of the wood. So, you know. So the next thing I wanted to try is to cut through the whole thickness of the wooden board. This is pine, it's about 15 millimeters thick, and it actually cut through without any issue at all. I used two passes. The first one got pretty close and the second one cut through completely. But again, you can see how fast it's moving. So if I set it to cut slower, it would probably be able to cut through in just one pass, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so let's use the machine to actually create some art. My wife and I visited Edinburgh recently with some friends, and I took some photos of the city, and from this one point the view was so cool. The buildings are somehow squeezed, you know, and it almost looked 2D. So I decided to make a little gift for these friends as a keepsake from the trip. So I traced the buildings in Photoshop and separated them in a few layers, right? So the ones closest to us are the first layer, the next buildings are the second layer, and so on. I had to manually erase hundreds of little holes for the windows, which actually took some time, which just goes to show how great friend I am. Then I converted it to vectors and cut it out from thick paper. So this is a nice example of the precision of the laser cutter. It's again about the size of the postcard, and some windows are literally half a millimeter small. I also set the strength to a precise point where it cut through the paper, but it wasn't strong enough to burn anything or set it on fire. Unfortunately, again, I didn't use the fire thing. Oh, this cut is wonderful. I mean, here you can really see how tiny this is, and the cuts were again clean and made with filigree precision. I'll quickly show you here how I put it together. I just glued some pieces of cardboard between the layers to just separate them a little bit, to give it a little bit of dimensionality. And here is the finished piece. I think it's a masterpiece. But to me this looks almost like a little set. I can imagine doing a whole animation with this technique. One thing you gotta keep in mind is that it's a diode laser, which means that it will not cut transparent acrylic. I tried to trick it by spray painting the acrylic with, you know, white paint, but it just cut through the paint and then again it stopped. It didn't go through the acrylic, so I don't know how to do it. It's probably not possible. But on their website they are saying you can cut black acrylic, so, you know, just not transparent. So another idea I had was to make a lamp, an actual lamp. I asked my wife to draw a black and white pattern that I could cut. She is very much into flowers, so she did a couple of compositions on her iPad. In the meantime, I went to a website called MakerCase. Here you can put in the measurements of the box you want to make. It changes the model in real time. It's pretty cool and it's completely free. I set up how many fingers I want to connect the pieces, and when I was happy, I downloaded the cutting plan in the vector format. I also converted my wife's drawings into vectors, connected it with the box vectors, and then all that was left was to cut it on the laser cutter. As I already mentioned, the cuts are precise and clean. I literally don't have anything bad to say about it. The only thing I can point out is that, as you can see, cuts like these produce quite a lot of smoke, and the exhaust fan is perhaps a little bit underpowered. The hose is 7.5 centimeters wide, that's 3 inches, so there's probably a limit to the amount of air volume it can extract. So because of that, there was a slight smell of burned wood in the room. Nothing major, but it's not ideal if you plan to use it all day long every day, right? Then you should probably have some way of ventilating the room. Alright, with the pieces cut out, I had to glue some kind of tracing paper or rice paper on the back of the pieces and then nicely trim it. I did it for all the pieces, of course, and I assembled the lamp with a hot glue gun because it's very quick that way and it's a glue I trust. I just bought some cheap LED light for a couple of euros. I dismantled it to its bare bones and installed it into my custom lamp. And there it is! Another pretty quick project. It was made in just a few hours basically, but now we have a nice lamp that we designed ourselves. It's not like we needed this lamp, we already have plenty of lamps and we don't really know where to put this one, to be honest. But it's very satisfying to be able to create stuff like this at home, you know. We live in a truly wonderful time where you can have all these cool machines at home and create all kinds of wonderful projects with them. Alright, so final thoughts. It's a good machine, it's well built, it's easy to use, the whole cutting and engraving thing, it really does extremely well. If you're in the market for a laser cutter, this one definitely seems like a solid choice. As always, in the description there is a link to the Atomstack website where you can find out more about their laser cutters, check the prices and stuff like that. And thank you for your attention, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!